insurance industry as an investor is liability driven, and it's confined by a number of regulations. It is a conservative investor with particularly in case of the life insurers, with a long-term view. But the industry wants to invest more in green. And our report highlights a number of key hurdles for it to be able to do so. But let me highlight 2-3 of those elements. The very first one is access to a pipeline of investable opportunities that really meets the industry's criteria, particularly under its regulatory regimes, the need for classification of green assets, and the availability of standard tools and methodologies where this asset class can be analyzed and assessed. Second one is around lack of availability of sufficient data to these investors so that the decisions can be made soundly and effectively. Third one is around need for more clear climate policies and regulatory regimes of governments to sort of de-risk these policy and political risks that exist today in this field. And maybe lastly is that financial and insurance regulators to align the regulations with the national policies and priorities to enable investors such as insurance to invest in these areas with a long-term perspective. In our report, we have highlighted a number of critical areas that are hurdling the insurance industry in expanding its underwriting products and services to all markets. I like to highlight maybe 4 key areas. First one is limited access to risk information, risk awareness, and pricing of the risk. How does this risk impact people, businesses, and governments? The second area is around limited ex-ante investments of governments in risk reduction and preventive measures in areas such as land zoning or enforcing building codes and making sure that that is actually followed through. Third area is lack of incentives or disincentives among people and businesses in taking up insurance. A lot of that is linked to lack of awareness about insurance and how it works, all the way to disincentives associated with post-disaster aids provided by governments. Lastly is the need for much closer collaboration of governments with the insurance industry to develop, design, and implement sustainable and scalable risk transfer programs in different countries. One area that has presented itself in our discussions with the executives of the industry, where industry can work very closely with the government, is building climate resilient critical infrastructure. We know that following the financial instabilities in 2008, governments are starting to invest much more significantly in critical infrastructure, and we hope that governments will work very closely with the insurance industry to find solutions so that the infrastructure is resilient to the forces of nature.